Thanks for coming. We got some good news today. Been working on it for a long time. Our quarterly meeting for the IEDC is tomorrow as well. And remember from the news from not too long ago how we're doing as a state compared to our peer state competitors around the neighborhood. GDP growth is the way you measure economies. Ours is growing twice as fast as Illinois and Ohio's. Ours is about 2.7%, about 3 times the rate of Kentucky's and nearly 6 times the rate of Michigan's. So, and you also know that since I've been here, we've had to go through a lot of rebuilding in our own IEDC, had the full forensic audit. So we're at a place where you're finally starting to see results that we've been working on for a good while. Another thing to point out is that this whole idea of regionalism, IU confirmed that that is a great way to approach our own state's economic growth because we're a state that's got unique areas to it. Probably 70 of our 92 counties are rural, would be heavily agricultural. And almost all of them are trying to find that next act to rejuvenate their economies or dealing with maybe flat or waning population. And an economy's growth is very simple. The percentage increase in your population plus the percentage increase in your productivity. Add that up, that's how fast you grow. So here today, this is taking what we were challenging the regions with is to come up with your comparative advantage. In economics, that's the key thing that drives global competition and competition within your country of 49 other states and within your state. And Indiana is the leader in life sciences. We are the premier destination for human therapeutics, animal health, agritech, biotechnology, and environmental innovation. Today, we're launching a new initiative to grow jobs and wages while bringing innovation in these fields together. Indiana will be an epicenter for reshoring and expansion in this area. State of Indiana will commit $1 billion to accelerate growth within plant, human, and animal health sectors statewide. These are tools we've already got. They're going to be through performance-based incentives, but this is the first time we're designating it towards a particular part of our economy because this region has stepped up to do the things we want them to do to make sure we're going to put this kind of commitment behind it. This investment will grow over 100,000 new high-wage jobs over the next 10 years. These invested funds will be tied to measurable outcomes to ensure accountability and long-term return on investment. You hear me talk about that a lot. The work around plant, human, and animal health in Indiana supports hundreds of thousands of Hoosier jobs, generates billions in annual GDP statewide. The transformational investment will also support our regional economies. Today's announcement builds on my executive order last year that directed Indiana's regions to submit formal growth plans tied to employment growth, per capita income, and educational attainment. Pleased to announce that the Central Indiana region, chaired by Fisher's Mayor Scott Fadness, is the first regional steward to coordinate alignment and execution of the initiative. Our state is anchored by global companies such as Eli Lilly, Elanco, Corteva, Cook Medical Group. We have innovators such as Roche, Novartis, LabCorp, Beck's Hybrids, and Langham Logistics, and many others. These industry leaders operate in close partnership with Indiana's world-class research institutions, including Purdue and IU. I want regions to partner with us at the state level to tell us how we can support their work around plant, human, and animal health. This historic investment will empower region-led growth, bring in more jobs with higher wages, and further establish Indiana as a state for cutting-edge life sciences. Now I want to bring Secretary of Commerce Dave Adams to the forefront, largely responsible for putting this program together, along with me and our broader team. And this is just one of the first manifestations of what you're going to see more of, to where you're going to hear our economy talked about just like it is in healthcare reform, in educational achievement, in economic development. And this is just the first of many to come down the road. David.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning. Very exciting day for Indiana. Last year, the governor gave me two key charges through executive orders. One was, we've got to focus on jobs and wages. And we actually started implementing that immediately. And I'm happy to report that the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, as we crossed over last year, had an all-time high in terms of wages. Our state is focused on quality, not quantity. And our job here is to make sure that the governor's vision becomes a reality for the state and becomes a reality for all Hoosiers. The governor also charged us with understanding from a regional standpoint, what are the economic regions in the state? The governor recognized that the state is not one economy, but it's a series of regional economies. So last summer, I went on a 15-region listening tour focused on a program that got put in place in 2021 called the READY program, a Regional Economic Acceleration and Development Initiative, a quality of place initiative. When I went out and spoke to those groups to listen in terms of what's working, what's not working, I heard two key things. One, we are collaborating in ways that we have never collaborated. The net is, don't break us up. Secondly, we have economies and we have industries that are unique and genuine to who we are. Let's lean into that. So we took it upon ourselves to contract with IU's Kelley School of Business, with the Indiana Business Research Center, who had done similar work for Governor Daniels, for Governor Pence, to take a look at these 15 regions and see how well do they align as economic regions for the state of Indiana. And they concluded that they are good representation for our state. So as part of this process, when I met with the regions, to the governor's point about establishing economic goals, I asked each of the regions, one, identify your strategy. Focus on the industries that are core strengths to your economy. And I very much encouraged each of those regions to think deeply about where they have a competitive edge and how that connects to statewide growth. I'm happy to state that the Central Indiana region came forward and said, we want to be the first region with a clear, aligned strategy. So leaders across all 9 counties and mayors in the region aligned around all things animal, plant, and human health, and said this is what's critical to the success of our economy, not only today, but the success as we move forward. A life sciences-driven regional strategy that ties human health, animal health, and plant health all together. When we step back as a state, and we look at Indiana's life science economy, it's substantial in scale. It's already creating hundreds of thousands of jobs, and it's generating billions of dollars in GDP. As the governor's already highlighted, life sciences are pervasive across the state. This is not just about one city, one corridor. It truly is a statewide strength. Because Central Indiana stepped forward with a unified focus on life sciences, it created this opportunity for us to launch a proactive, long-term, 10-year plan of $1 billion on building 100,000 new jobs, high-wage jobs here in Indiana. It's performance-based, it's measurable, and it has a level of accountability. We're very excited about Central Indiana taking the lead in this effort. They're serving as the first regional steward and serving as a model for the state of Indiana. They are demonstrating how regional alignment can turn a statewide strength into concrete jobs and income growth. While Central Indiana's first, life sciences are not confined to one region. We expect, and we are inviting other regions to come forward with their own strategies. As other regions develop and refine their plans, we look forward to partnering with them on industries, including life sciences, that are core to their growth. This initiative is about Indiana as a whole, supporting multiple regional economies, building a statewide life sciences ecosystem that benefits all Hoosiers. I want to commend the Central Indiana region on their leadership role and continue to stress the importance of regional collaboration. At this time, I'm going to turn this over to Fisher's Mayor, Scott Fadness, who's the chair of the Central Indiana Regional Development Authority, and he's going to discuss how CERTA and the local leaders have come together to support this initiative. He's going to discuss how regional alignment across industry, universities, and communities work, and about how Central Indiana plans to execute this vision on the ground. So with that, let me turn this over to Mayor Fadness. Thank you.
Well, first, on behalf of the 32 communities that now make up CERTA, Governor Braun, thank you for your leadership and resource support on this. And Secretary Adams, thank you for passing on your insight and experience over your years of building these innovation ecosystems. I think we truly do have a unique opportunity here in Central Indiana. CERTA was founded, honestly, to create alignment between not only the public sector, but the private sector and hopefully the philanthropic sector as well. And first and foremost, we had to make sure that our public sector was in alignment. And I think there's something truly unique in today's political world to see 32 communities ranging from the size of 2,500 all the way up to the city of Indianapolis coming together to tackle challenges and seize opportunities. And one of the most remarkable things I was commenting to the governor before we came out here and spoke today is every vote that we've taken to date over the last several years has been unanimous. That's a testament to the culture that we're creating here in Central Indiana that says we are better together than individual. And I would tell you that when this opportunity came, when Secretary Adams came forward and said, look, we want the regional vision. What is your vision for this Central Indiana? And we want to come in and partner with you and support you. Well, that was a perfect timing. That was a convergence of opportunity that said, you know what, we need to seize on this. And the incredible work by CICP and our private sector partners had already laid the groundwork. The foundation was there. We understood what we are already good at and what we can ultimately be great at. And that is around life sciences and human health and plant health and agri-sciences. And what we learned in this process is that Central Indiana is a unique ecosystem in terms of we have the ability to discover it, we have the ability to make it, we have the ability to move it, and we also have the ability to apply it or heal it around healthcare. We have some of the best universities in the world. We have some of the best healthcare facilities in the world. We have Lilly, Roche, all the companies that Governor Braun already announced, they're here today. Now, if we marshal our collective resources towards achieving the best ecosystem in all of America and dare I say the world, I think we can accomplish something truly incredible, which is going out and seizing a new economy, not just for this generation, but for future generations to come. The work is just starting. We have a long ways to go. This is an incredible affirmation of the work that we've done to date. I can't thank the governor and the secretary enough. And we're going to roll up our sleeves here in Central Indiana. And I think what you're going to find if we do our job well and we work with our partners like CICP and others is that week after week, you're going to hear a steady drumbeat of new and exciting announcements that affirm that Central Indiana truly is the epicenter for life sciences here in Indiana and across the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, David. So any of the three of us, feel free to ask us questions about this and economic development in general.
Governor, can you tell us a bit more about the specific outcomes and measurements you're going to be looking for you
So that's not going to be any different. And David could flesh out the details of what we do with performance-based credits and incentives. It's just that we're allocating this amount to this sector. And you can expect the same type of galvanizing effort that we're going to do when other regions come forward with what is going to make sense for them. And don't underestimate the synergy that we'll get in other regions, because this is something, when you look at our centricity as a state, the fact that we are now going to be in that category with 4 or 5 other states that specialize. Of course, you tech industry, West Coast, Massachusetts. A lot of things take a little more articulation to develop those markets, but we got all the parts here to do it. So it'll be similar to what we've always done. It's going to be obviously fully transparent, and it's just a commitment. And that's a lot to commit to one area, but to us, it's going to justify that return and give us results way beyond just central Indiana.
Braun, you mentioned performance-based incentives, and this is a question for all three of you. Could you speak to the metrics that are already in place to ensure that these jobs are growing according to plan, that they hit that?
David, come on in and you can explain some of the particulars.
Yeah, so one of the things that we took upon ourselves in 2025 was to take a look in terms of these performance-based metrics and how we applying them. And so what we've done is we've set as a guideline that unless a particular job is above 125% of the county wage, they're not eligible for these performance-based incentives. So that's why you've seen a focus on quality, not quantity. It's also why you've seen a focus at the IDC last year that we had wages that approached $40 an hour. It's an all-time high for the IDC, and we're going to continue to monitor the performance. So as the new businesses come in or businesses expand here, we're going to hold that as a guideline and make sure they're performing against that in terms of the jobs that they're creating. And they won't get those incentives unless those jobs do get created. It is, absolutely, over 10 years. And I think the important part, too, to take away from this is a lot of states are reactive in terms of opportunities present themselves, and they're reacting to this. We're actually planting a flag in the ground for the next 10 years that says we're committed to life sciences. So on a global basis, take note, Indiana is serious about life sciences. We're committed to life sciences. So if you're a business or your talent, we want you here.
What percentage of IDC's tax credits and resources are you guys committing to that?
So this is about a third of our resources, and that's based on our analysis of where does life sciences exist today from an economy, and what do we see as the growth trajectory as well. We wanted to make sure that we had room to be able to support this initiative.
For your guidance, I know Fisher don't have experience growing life sciences to central Indiana in Congress, for example, 200 million, 1,000 jobs. How do you plan to take some of what Fisher's has done as experience in guiding for this company?
Well, I mean, I certainly have learned a lot in Fisher's growth around life sciences, but to be honest with you, there's incredible work being done in downtown Indianapolis. There's incredible work being done at Lebanon. Greenfield has incredible opportunities happening. Plainfield is crushing it when it comes to logistics on life sciences. So really, it's all out there already. What this does is it gives us a story. It gives us alignment, right? If you think about it, before, as Secretary Adams said, if we were being reactionary, now we can be proactive. When we're out identifying what are those companies that are not in the ecosystem today, when we call on them, we have a story to tell. One, that we're all aligned, not only just at the local and regional level, but we have a governor and a secretary of commerce that are also in alignment and have put resources behind that. That makes our story very compelling because we already have the industry clusters here today. Now we're going to build out the rest of that ecosystem. So it cannot be discounted when government puts its resources behind an idea and calls it shot, the power behind that. And I think that's what you're seeing here today. And I think we're going to have a lot of momentum behind this.
What kind of training or degrees do you anticipate people needing to have to get them in? Do you want Hoosiers to, have the jobs, or be bringing people from the outside to have the jobs?
So when you talk about economic development, it's affordable housing, it's workforce, it's childcare, it's a lot of stuff that's got to be done in a coordinated way. And I recall back when I was growing my own business, there was never any reaching out, especially to smaller businesses. You had to come asking, knocking at the door, and a lot of times it was complicated. Here, we're putting it out here because it is a big comparative advantage for our state. So When it comes to what we're going to do in an ancillary way to support it, yes, this is going to do all of that. I mean, you're looking at 100,000 jobs, but if we do not get the educational component right, meaning to where currently, and that's changing, it's changed before I got to be governor, is we were shipping way too many kids into a 4-year trajectory that half weren't completing. That's why we've realigned the diplomas. We got to make sure if we're investing this kind of money, it'll take coordination in other areas too. And the first time since I've been observing from 10 years on a school board where there was nothing being said about workforce development, it's got to be coordinated to where these are going to take a lot of degrees. And the one place that we underproduce would be STEM degrees. All of that needs to be aligned. And then you're looking at workforce, affordable housing, and then, and you've heard me talk about this many times, is the high cost of healthcare in this state. This is all part of economic development, and we're already weighing in on that more than any other state with results. And of course, I tried that back when I was a state legislator in 15, 16, and 17 and couldn't get one committee hearing. Finally, got everybody to meet in the basement when I was leaving to go to the Senate or run for it, and we had a big discussion. We've made a lot of headway there too, because that is still the biggest part of our economy that needs to be smaller and done more efficiently. All ties together. Who else didn't get a question? Go ahead. Anybody else? Okay.
Any of that already awarded, and do you expect more of that to be front-loaded and awarded sooner than later down the line?
No, it's absolutely not allocated today, and it's not front-loaded. So this is absolutely looking forward to say we are going to take an allocation of the incentives we have available and allocate it to this space. And I think to the mayor's comment too, as well as the governor's, this is really planting a flag in the ground for us on a long-term basis to have those communications with businesses that aren't here, as well as talent that's not here, to help them understand again that we are committed to this particular sector.
And also that $1 billion, it could have been invested in any industry. Why life sciences? Why was that identified as a key opportunity?
Because it's going to sport the highest wages. It's a growth industry. Other states are trying to maybe corner that market. And remember, we've got 49 competitors. And when I decided to come back to this job, it was for that tangibility where with our comparative advantage as being the place that can reach the most of our own economy in 2 days of ground transportation. That's why logistics companies come here. That's why we, along with Wisconsin, and especially us on advanced manufacturing, per capita, we're the 2 leaders. And we're trying to refine a lot of other elements, not to mention the condition of our roads, because we've got the most of them to keep up. And then I want to weave this into it as well. The budget forecast we had in April, that gift that came right before the end of session, thank goodness it never felt like it was accurate. It was based upon a snapshot of tariffs at the time. The markets basically discounted that shortly after the forecast came out. And for those of you that didn't pick it up, we're back on track to where we're cash flowing as a state better than what we thought we were before the austere forecast came. So we got a lot to look forward to. I don't really like to count those chickens before they're hatched, but we're in a place as a state. I served 6 years in a place that doesn't get much done, but the innovative, active states that piece all this together are going to be the ones that grow at a gentle to maybe better than gentle rate. You're going to have people moving into your state to take advantage of it. And that growth that's managed well into the highest paying sectors will be what we're concentrating on. This was the first one that got dressed up, ready to go. And it's in the area where 45% of our GDP is. So we got a lot to look forward to. That's just a start. That is why we devoted it here, because all the moving parts were ready to go.
What's going to be in this for those who do not have STEM degrees, or for that matter, no
Well, when it comes to the part that we need to do better at, to where there are more jobs, when my brother was running the workforce development back in the Pence administration, it was about 65,000 jobs that needed a better high school education, skills based. Now it's up to 130,000. And if you look at a company like Toyota, their highest paid employees next to the very top management would be the mechanics and repairmen that keep the line moving. We got a lot of them off the farm since World War II. There's not more labor to shed there. We disbanded things like wood, metal shop, engine mechanics. I took industrial arts in high school. That's coming back. We just want it balanced. We get it balanced. We get those jobs correct. And I'm seeing so much being done there regionally across the state too, where higher ed wasn't adapting to it. Now everything's kind of working together. So when you talk about those kinds of jobs that don't need a STEM degree, there are more of them that generally come along with anything that even needs a lot of STEM degrees. It's going to be balanced going forward. So one more question, and Nikki, I'll go with you because I don't think you asked one. So we're one of 4 or 5 states, and I don't think any of them have been rolled out yet. But that's just another plays into the life sciences, and we're a state that's got a profile for the things that we're doing, that nothing has been derailed there, but there's no new news as well. And I will end with this because you're probably thinking it, even though you didn't ask it, on the Bears issue. That is still something that is moving methodically ahead. Their legislature is in session, I think, starting again this week, and it goes through the end of May. And that has given more profile to our state, along with what the Hoosiers did in football, that's given us a synergy that we're getting attention. And I mentioned it earlier: education, healthcare, SMRs, energy, across the country. It's a unique opportunity. We'll end with that. Thank you for being here today.